My project today is to paint this scene in Bedford. This photograph I took a few days ago. So colourful. Nice bright sunshine here, a little overcast cloud there, a bit dark there. But I've got some nice shapes. The blue of the market, a bit of green tree here, darker green here. Sort of more olivey and a bit of sap green colour there. But then I have these lovely white buildings. I must try and get that nice and bright. Sun's coming from the right, not quite so bright here. Got some different roof shapes and the colour. Some of these cars I might attempt a nice splash of colour. Although, yes, as I said, I'm going to crop it. So I probably won't have as much of the roadway here. I will just come in a little bit here and let's see if I can do it. Let's put it up like that. No, I think that's what I'll do. You see, I've cut a little bit of the market off there. Not quite so much road. So I will put it there. But we've got these nice red brick buildings to the left and lots of little features, which I think it's a challenge anyway. So let's crack on with that. What I'll do, I'll stop filming now, but I will sketch this in very lightly to give me some guidance, and then I'll come back and start filming as we get to paint. To show you my palette: titanium white, Naples yellow, cadmium yellow, raw sienna here, burnt umber, yellow ochre, sap green, olive green, that's ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, and some Payne's grey. Well, you can see that I've done a rough sketch in of my my market scene. Very rough sketching. There's quite a lot of detail in this painting, so it's a little bit daunting when I look at all the detail, but I'll keep it fairly impressionistic, which is my style. But you've got to convey enough detail to make it work. And it's sometimes a good idea to look at your reference photograph and say, and really analyse what you're trying to capture, set out an objective. And I think my objective here is to try and get those lovely colours. It's sort of bright. The sun is streaming in here and showing these quite vibrant colours. Certainly the blues of the market square and the cars, the lovely cerulean blue here, and this nice green. So I think I'll get cracking and see if we can maintain some of those key elements which I've got to get in. So I'm going to start off. I think I want to map in this sky actually. Get rid of all that bright white there. So what I'm going to do with that is make a mixture of my ultramarine, which is just here. If you can see it, I'm going to lift it up. Whoops, I've got a less mineral spirit running a bit there. Let's get some blue in, some white in, and mix something up which will give us a start anyway. And I'm going to keep it fairly thin mixture for the time being. Got a big tree, it's going to go in there. Lovely green tree. But I'm going to just map in some of this down over the rooftops of these trees here, all these houses and behind this tree. So sky will show you there. So we'll get it in. It's quite an interesting sky as well. I've got some rain clouds which I'll put in to this left side of the picture in a moment. But I think it helps us get the values right. If I don't have this glaring white for the moment anyway. There's a lot of architectural detail in this, so I'll have to take my time, I think. So it could take several hours really to get this. Depends how accurate you want to get. I like the details that are showing up in the street furniture and the signs and the bus shelter. So I've got to take a bit of time over that, I think, which we're not going to be able to put in quickly. Fairly thin mixture. I'm just using odorless mineral spirit as my medium. Sometimes use liquid to help the paints spread a little easier, but ring the changes. Right. Okay, I think that's something of a start. But I've just noticed I haven't put any reds out, which is unusual for me to forget that. But I'm going to use some crimson alizarin. I'm going to put down here. We need some more white as well. You certainly get through that. But let's just mix with a little there in that blue. A little put in, as I say, there was quite a cloud here forming up. I'm mixing a little ultramarine along with that crimson alizarin. To give me some of the darks that I need. And we'll put some whites in as well to break up this cloud structure. But you want to try and get some variety in your clouds. Others, they look a bit flat if you just all do white or all blue. So trying to I'll soften these edges a little bit as well later. But there's quite a distinct mixture out how the blue is going to hit the whites. I put some white in there, we'll mix that in and get some fluffy clouds edges going. Just notice there's a bit of a hole there, a little bit lighter, dark and light there, behind that chimney, and down here. Actually, it came down quite a bit, so let's get some more titanium in this to help it read. Get some titanium white. Let's get a, it's not to be mean with it. Now let's see what we can do. So on this edge, let's get some nice highlight there. Sun's catch breaking through the cloud a little bit there. I've got some whites here. Quite an interesting shape. Clouds here. We'll put a little bit down here. This tree is going to come over here. Well, if we put that white, it can poke through the gaps that I'll leave. Just standing back now to see. It's shining a little bit off from the oil paint, so you may not be seeing quite as bright as I am, but no, not so bad. I think I'm going to step up a little bit more there. Right, and a little bit more in here. Right, so let me think. Is that reading like real clouds? And I could step up my blue a little bit in certain places to give us contrast. I think if I put in this blue, it will help to give us some depth, I think. Right. And I think, well, there's a slice of blue coming in here. Let's run that in there. Get some soft edges as well. Right, I think I could do with actually a little grey in places. I don't think I've got enough. So I put a bit of Payne's grey here, mixed with it, with my sky mixture. So we've got some contrast going. I think there was quite a bit more coming like this. A bit of a stormy cloud, actually, it was. Right. I think we should leave it at that. Can always come back and reevaluate as we go, which is a feature of oil. You can always have another go, see if you can improve it. Right, let's leave it at that for the moment. Now, where do we go from here? Let's put in, should we get some of this ground in? It's such a slab of grey and umber, you know, the road colours. Let's see if I can make something of this, just so I can not be glaring at it too much, which throws me. Because I want to keep the lovely buildings white, nice vibrant white, and that will be emphasized, of course, by getting the tone of the foreground right. So we'll just roughly map in tone altogether. So I'm going to mix up a bit of ochre. Let's see if I can lighten that up. I think I could add a bit more white to my ochre. Of course, the perspective, that helps draw our eye into it as well. They've got to try and keep the vanishing point is over here. You can see the lines of perspective, the building lines coming down here, and the market square tents will come off. You'll see those a little bit better as we go on. And on this near pavement, I need to put something in as well. And notice the edge of this pavement has got a nice brightish curb coming down there, so we've got to see if we can map that out a bit better. Of course, being perspective, to get that right, it's much thicker as it comes closer to us, thinner line up, so I'll just thicken up just down here. And it's got a yellow remains of a no parking strip going down. You can just about see it. It's pretty washed out. We'll do that. Lovely yellow, lovely blues they had. And looking the corner, this triangular shape there. Right. As I said, these are just very rough mappings at this point. But you move from the general shapes to the particular. Of course, you'll move then to a smaller brush and delineate it a lot better than that. Now, where should we go from here? Well, just under the market stall, it's quite dark actually in shadow. So I'm going to just block in with darker tones. We can, the stalls were there, and I could obviously put some more detail in as I progress. But it's certainly very, very dark. Patches, I think. It's been done up. And this face of this blue canvas is catching the light. So I'm doing a bit there. But I also put in some ironwork as well to help us with that structure as we go. Now, we'll just try and keep that a bit linear, like somebody did do a bit of sewing there on that roof. Right. And we have shadows as well, which, well, I've got this shadow colour, which is titanium, a little bit titanium, but mainly crimson alizarin and blue, so it makes a jolly good shadow cover. And this roof is casting a shadow over the roadway there, and there's a little structure up here, little town notice board, a little obelisk sort of thing, which I'll draw in there shortly. Now let me see, where do we go from here? I think we ought to put in a little bit of the brickwork to the building on our left. It's quite dark in places. Certainly this upper element here, it comes down like this, and it gets a little bit lighter as we come down here. So I better wipe my brush off, save my paint getting muddy, and just drag a little bit of lighter colour down here to the front of the building. And also the building beyond this element is really quite white, so I'm going to get that in. Just gently map it in. A little bit grey at the moment, but we can brighten that up shortly. Cleaning up as I go, hence my brush cleaner making a bit of a racket as I wipe off my brush. Now I think I have to get a smaller brush to give me some thing to make a red up with, a nice bricky red. So I'm going to get a little red, little crimson alizarin, bit of yellow, yes, I think I need a little whiter than that. Let's keep it I'm going to put a little bit more red and yellow into that, so it reads a little brighter, a little yellower, and yes, perhaps a little bit of sienna, or sienna That's a bit better. Right. So a little bit of yellow. I could put a little umber with my yellow and red mixture. Yes, that's not so bad. It came up here a little as well. I need some. Let's make it a little bit thinner to start with. Nice shapes there, which I'll deal with shortly, and up here on the top of, which I think I'll bring that down a bit. That brick. Right, let's yes, it was. Well, as you can see, I've come on quite a long way from when I stopped filming, as the first session took me 45 minutes or so, and I've probably spent another hour or so doing this. Just like to point out a few things I've done, which obviously I put in the tree. I put some little dapples of olive green and some sap green, little dabs here and there, just to give us some different, keeping it light because I want to have the sun coming through. And I've also completed this a little obelisk, a sort of rather ornate piece of ironwork it was, painted in this sort of red colour with little notices, a little bit of history of Bedford, of the notable things, probably about, I think, the market square and its history. Here I've got shadow from these market awnings, and of course the major thing that I put in is I put a bus in there, another car here with some shadow underneath here, which helps the delineate. They're just basic shapes, and if you have a little bit of dark under, got a little bit of black there. Don't normally use black on its own. It's best to make your own blacks up with a combination of reds and browns and greens, anything to sort of create a dark form. And here I've got a few pedestrians here, just trying to hint at them. Put some darker colours in to try and make them stand out a little bit against the lighter background. So again, just using a mixture of dark blues and blacks to try and mark it out a little bit there. Mark their heads a little bit on their shoulders to help to define the form a little bit. And also I've got this building down here. Try to emphasize a little bit more, just catching the light as it comes in here, and along this part of the street here, which they were predominantly white buildings. So I want to make sure I've got that showing up fairly well, with some horizontals and a few vertical lines here and there to help show its architectural shapes. Got a little bit of highlight on the top of this, blue canopy here. And got in the bus stop sign here. Just use a little bit more yellow, but you don't want to overemphasize it, as it is what it is. It's worn. My stop here. A stop sign. You've got the shop fronts here, some reds and bright Santander sign just to the left there, and a roadway. I've tried to create some perspective with some lines going this direction. Put in some darkness for the curb there. And as I said, just marked out the roof lines somewhat. Got a lamp post in here, just coming in here. I've made a little mark there, which I shouldn't have done. Put a little bit of light up against the dark, the lamp itself will show out a little bit more. You need to have your dark elements for this shop. The glass shop windows down there, and the roof lines, got very interesting roof lines here and there. But as I said, I've got to try and make this white really stand out. So let's brush. It's probably not the right one. I think I need something with a little bit bigger, but something will give me a little bit more control. Yes, I've got this little filbert here. If I take a bit of white and that's a bit better. Try and sharpen up a little bit on some of these elements down between these. It's good to leave the brush strokes as well. This will celebrate. It is a painting, it's not a photograph. So this gives you some textural hints, really. And the bus, got a few signs, little dabs on the window glass there. And say little bits of this building here. And sharpen up a little bit. My chimney, they're catching a bit of light actually coming from the right, so if I just hint at it, a little mark on them, the light is coming from the right, it'll just catch them. I'm just thinking now, I could probably darken up a little bit in places where I need to make it the contrast greater. So I think I'll put out a little bit of black here. And this one, there's all sorts of blacks now. This one is ivory black, Winsor & Newton, water mixable or paints here, so you can clean up pretty good with water alone. But I do use little bits of odorless mineral spirit. But I've got some black here. I want to emphasize more this shadow area. And these darks in here. It's quite tricky to put wet down on wet. So you want to have a light touch. As you do it, and wipe your brush off with a bit of tissue. Each time, so you don't, in between strokes, so you don't pick up the underlying paint and then grey out your colours, or muddy your colours. Quite tricky actually to get that right, but it's a good idea to squint your eyes sometimes, and then you will see your lights and darks. I'm going to darken up these pedestrians a bit more. Right, and I've got this lamp post as well, which I've put in a little bit of street furniture. Well, it's not really furniture, is it? It's lamp posts and seats and things. You can do that if it helps add something. And along this edge of the pavement, this is all in a little bit of shade, so I should really dull that down a little bit. And quite the opposite here. Of course, I put a bit of yellow here. In fact, I could probably brighten that up a little bit. I've got some Naples yellow, which is a warmer colour, of course. So that will give me a little bit of warmth, because this side was in the sun, and you see this history bollard here, this little ironwork shaped thing made cast iron. It's on a plinth, so I've got the white along there and a little bit of on the shadow side here. The sun's coming here, so the top part of that plinth is casting a shadow. So I've got that. Let's make sure we've got some sun shining here. Don't want to come up too close in there, because that's where under the canopy, the shadow of the market square there. Could probably put a bit of light on here, because we are getting some light. Coming here. Right, how about that? And let me see. wondering whether I could take, I think, a bigger brush and soften up the clouds a little bit. Got a little bit of white left on my palette, so I think I'm going to tap in a little white here, a little bit of light catching on there. And a little white on the edge of the clouds there. And I think we'll dull out a little bit here. And soften the transitions from the light to the dark. Just gently touching the edges there. Try and make it a little fluffy looking. Little feathery edges sometimes help to do that. A good way to soften the edges is use a little soft brush like this and gently stroke. Yes, I can see that now. I don't know whether the camera's picking that up, but it softens it up a little bit, some of these edges, so you get more of soft transitions, sort of fluffier, not too many hard edges. So let me think about this now. Let me squint my eyes a little bit. Yes, I've just noticed it's one of these security cameras here, CCTVs, little white blob there, little cone shape. Got a road label attached here to the lamp. The little marks on it. Right. I think I could beef up that plinth a little bit. That's quite big. That's a little bit better. That reads a bit better, I think. And this bit of the curb here, catching some more light. So put a few flecks in there. But I think I've just about done as much as I want to do right now. So I think I'll leave it. I'm reasonably happy with it. My main objective, of course, was to capture the colour and the light, the brightness of the day. So I think I've done that to some extent, and also the architecture of these white buildings here in the high street. Just little dabs at these windows. They're tricky to get the detail in, really. I need to strain that line a little bit. So anyway, there we are. I hope you enjoyed it. It's Bedford Square, Market Square here. It's a lovely statue of John Howard, a well-known benefactor in Bedford. Nice statue, just a little out of view there. Perhaps I'll have to have a go at painting that sometime. But anyway, if you liked it and you'd like to see more of my paintings, please touch the like button and also the subscribe button. Means you'll be notified automatically when I put another one up. It all helps me grow the channel as well. There's obviously no charge to that. Get some sky hole poking through there. It makes it light and airy. I think we should leave it at that. Right, there we are. All done. I think we'll leave it at that. Well, here is the bit of a close-up, actually, of the completed painting. I hope you can see the detail there. We've got quite a lot of detail, actually. If I zoom up a little bit, you can see we've got these cars and the market store, all the colour, all the detail.